Distinguished guests, welcome back. Now it's time for the Roundtable Dialogue, Prospect Asia Roundtable, Revitalizing, Reorienting, and Reconnecting. This session is moderated by Dr. Hsin-Huang Michael Hsiao, Chairman of Taiwan-Asia Exchange Foundation, R.O.C. Taiwan. Please put your hands together to welcome Chairman Hsiao to the stage. And in this session, we are honored to have invited the Honorable Phongthep Thepkanjana, former Deputy Prime Minister of Thailand. Please, a round of applause. We also want to welcome the Right Honorable Winston Peters, former Deputy Prime Minister and former Minister of Foreign Affairs of New Zealand. Please come up to the stage. So please be seated. Thank you. Another round of applause to our distinguished guests on the stage. Please be seated. And Chairman Hsiao, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the final roundtable. And like last year, we have the Prospect Asia Roundtable. Such a roundtable is designed to provide the opportunity for the high-profile leaders to come to the Yushan Forum to share their insight and reflection of the major theme of the Yushan Forum. The Yushan Forum this year's theme is Revitalizing, Reorienting, and Reconnecting. And we are very privileged to have three high-profile political and leaders to provide their insight. Our keynote speaker for this roundtable in the first session, like the last session, we have two parts. The first part, we are privileged and highly honored to have our Vice President, Dr. Lai Ching-te, to deliver his remark. As you can see, as you already heard, that this morning we have President Tsai Ing-wen came to the forum to deliver her opening speech. And now, in the afternoon, we have the Vice President Lai to deliver her remark at the roundtable. That means what? That means this Yushan Forum is highly regarded and emphasized and appreciated by the government. And so, the significance of the Yushan Forum. And we hope to keep this quality and this standard for the years to come. Last year, Vice President Lai, in the same Prospect Asia Roundtable, he talked about, at least last year, October, the pandemic are still lingering. It's not so optimistic like this year. And he mentioned three things I still remember. He said the major task lying ahead of us is to recover our human health, because the health issue was still the major concern. And also, second, to protect democracy from being declined because of a pandemic. The president of the Freedom House, just previously, he mentioned that 16 years consecutively, the world witnessed the decline of democracy. And during the pandemic, last 2 years, we see this situation, this declining, more serious than ever. And thirdly, he mentioned about to revitalize the economy. Because the economic sector, regardless of what kind of sector, except semiconductor, are being hurt very much. And of course, if the economy was hurt, then labor is heard. The people are heard. So I think that's very important. The three things: recovery of health, protect democracy, and revitalize economy. And so that's why this year we continue the last year theme. First sub-theme is revitalization, and then the reorienting, and then reconnect. So it's our privilege to invite Vice President Lai. Due to his busy schedule and conflicting, he told me 3 days ago that he very much like to be in person, but due to other conflicting schedule. As you know, they are government officials. They are not so free like us. So he cannot make it, but he will be prepared a pre-recorded video to send his his remark first. So please join me to welcome Vice President Lai.
TAEF Chairman Hsiao, former Deputy Prime Minister Phongthep, former Deputy Prime Minister Peters, distinguished guests from around the world, good afternoon. Thank you all for attending the 6th Yushan Forum. I hope that you will also be able to find some time to engage with Taiwan's friendly and vibrant people while you are here. The COVID-19 pandemic is now receding, and many countries are relaxing pandemic restrictions, preparing for a new post-pandemic lifestyle. I sincerely hope that all the international leaders, experts, and scholars here today will use the Yushan Forum as a platform for in-depth exchanges on important current issues such as regional economic recovery, supply chain restructuring and resilience, good global governance strategies, and bolstering the security of the Indo-Pacific region. The COVID-19 outbreak has proven that Taiwan is an indispensable link in global disease prevention. We once again call on the WHO to embrace Taiwan's participation and not allow geographic gaps in global disease prevention efforts. Over half the population in the Indo-Pacific region still do not have the opportunity to use new technologies, hindering post-pandemic recovery. To help members of the regional community recover together, Taiwan will continue to assist our Indo-Pacific partners to improve infrastructure, share our experience using technology to fight the disease, and help countries use cutting-edge technologies like AI and big data to respond to this constantly changing pandemic. The Indo-Pacific region constitutes 60% of global GDP. If multilateral regional trade mechanisms can be more open and welcome more countries, I'm sure the regional economy will see more dynamic growth post-pandemic. We are very pleased to see that regional economic cooperation mechanisms led by democracies, such as the CPTPP and the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework, are proving effective. Taiwan will continue to cooperate with like-minded countries and work towards participation in these mechanisms so that we can contribute to global economic revitalization as global industry chains are restructured and become more resilient. At the same time, we are seeing extreme weather events on the increase, posing a serious challenge to human survival. Many island nations face rising sea levels and the resulting loss of land. In the face of this crisis, Taiwan will continue to fulfill its responsibility to protect the environment. We are working toward energy transition and upgrading our industries by developing green energy, using more gas and less coal. We are also making progress toward achieving net zero emissions by 2050, playing our part in global climate action to create a better, greener future. Despite China's military provocations and increasing tensions in the Taiwan Strait, our society, under the leadership of President Tsai, has remained calm and rational. People have continued to live their lives as usual, without panic or fear. Our people have come together to tell the world that Taiwan will not bend under pressure from China. We are confident and determined to defend our democracy and freedom. Taiwan is a responsible member of the international community. President Tsai has an unwavering commitment to maintain cross-strait stability and a peaceful Indo-Pacific region. Our door is always wide open for communication with China. As President Tsai has said, our goodwill will not change. Our commitments will not change. We will not revert to the old paths of confrontation, and we will not bow to pressure. We remain steadfast in our commitment to the principle of peace, parity, democracy, and dialogue in managing cross-strait relations. Distinguished guests, we will continue to defend Taiwan's free and democratic way of life, and we will stand alongside other peace-loving nations in defending our shared values of freedom, democracy, the rule of law, and respect of human rights. I look forward to a successful dialogue on envisioning Asia and wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, and we appreciate the Vice President's presentation. And if I caught what he said correctly, I think now after the pandemic, we are going back to normal, in normal life. So as normal, democratic normal, normality, social life, normality, and health, as well as in Taiwan's special case, we hope to provide a normal condition for exchange between Taiwan and China. And hopefully our relation will be in a normality. It means peace, equality, and cooperation. Okay, now, please. Now we are very also equally privileged to have a true distinguished global leader to provide their remark to respond to our Vice President's presentation. And as our theme indicated, revitalizing, reorienting, and reconnecting. The question is, what to revitalize? And how to reorient, and to whom to reconnect. So we hope our two distinguished leaders, first I will call on former Deputy Prime Minister of Thailand, Phongthep, and to provide his reflection. And we will prepare a podium, please. Good. And don't we have another stand? Oh, you are tall enough. So please join me to welcome Deputy Prime Minister.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Dr. Michael Hsiao, His Excellency Vice President Lai, Deputy Prime Minister Peters, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor and privilege to be with all of you today at this 6th edition of Yushan Forum. My sincere gratitude to the Taiwan-Asia Exchange Foundation for your kind invitation and warm hospitality. Taiwan and Thailand have had a long and continuing relationship even after no full diplomatic relations in 1975. We always remember Taiwan's strong support when Thailand, which was on the losing side of World War II, applied for the UN membership. Taiwan is always Thailand's major trading partner and investor. First, allow me to respond to Vice President Lai's interesting remark. We learned from the COVID-19 that the global pandemic has no border, and only with global cooperation we can safely go through the crisis together and in a much shorter time. Taiwan's amazing handling of the pandemic and contributions to other economies during the crisis is so admirable. Vice President Lai called on the World Health Organization to embrace Taiwan's participation. I strongly believe that the more members there are in the World Health Organization, the better the world can handle global diseases. I wonder whether you also have the same belief. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to share briefly about the impact of COVID-19 on Thailand and how we try to recover. Thailand, as an export and tourism-led economy, was hit hard by the pandemic. So we have to try to survive. We have to subsidize domestic travelers and subsidize our people at that time so that our economy can continue. In respect of the recovery, Thailand has to rely heavily again on the tourism industry because it is the quickest way to earn more revenue. We are paying more attention to the use of soft power, particularly cultural soft power, to boost Thailand's image and promote Thai culture, products, tourism, and service. As for the long-term recovery, Thailand is promoting the bio-circular green economy, focusing on 4 industries, namely agriculture and food, medical and wellness, bioenergy, biomaterial and biochemical, and tourism and creative economy. Thailand aims to reach carbon neutrality in 2050 and net zero greenhouse gas emission before the year 2065. This morning, President Chai told us that Taiwan is among the world leaders in R&D capacity. We cannot deny the importance of the research and development. At the same time, when we look at the world Intellectual Property Organization, we can see that in 2020, the country which received the most patent applications accounting for almost 45% of the world total application is China. The second is the US and Japan. And patents enforced worldwide is 3.3 million in the US, followed by China, 3.1 million. I visited some corporations in China. I learned that they invested more than 20% of their annual revenue on R&D. So I urge that in order to continue to stay ahead or not lag behind in terms of technology, other economies must seriously upgrade their R&D capabilities and invest more in R&D. The last point which I would like to raise because of the time constraint is about peace and stability. When the COVID-19 became controllable and post-pandemic recovery has started, there came unexpectedly the Russian-Ukrainian war, which caused many other economies worldwide to go into trouble. It drives prices of petroleum and some commodities to skyrocket, disrupts supply chain, causes global inflation, and may lead to a global recession. I'm pretty sure that you agree with me that the most crucial element for sustainable recovery is peace and stability. The world witnesses the negative impacts of the Russian-Ukrainian war and can hardly withstand any more major arms conflict anywhere. Prime Minister Modi of India was right when he told President Putin that today's era was not the era for war. The tension in the South and East China Seas makes the world worry. I am very delighted to hear from Vice President Lai that Taiwan was always open for communication on cost-trade stability and would not revert to the old path of confrontation. I also truly admire Taiwan and Taiwanese people's courage and calm during this period of tensions. And I believe that Russian-Ukrainian war gives a solid warning to all economies that aggression in this era may dangerously backfire. Finally, I would like to invite all of you, if you have a chance, you may know that Thailand is hosting hundreds of APEC meetings this year, especially the APEC Economic Leaders Meeting, which take place on November 18 and 19. The theme for APEC 2022 is to make APEC open to all opportunities, connect in all dimensions, and balance in all aspects. Thailand believes that the world needs a paradigm shift and actions to achieve a more balanced and sustainable post-COVID-19 economy. Thailand is delighted and ready to welcome Taiwanese delegation and all participation from Taiwan and other economies. I hope to see you again if I have a chance to welcome distinguished participants of Yushan Forum who will attend the APEC meeting in Bangkok. See you in Bangkok in November. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deputy Prime Minister. Thank you for your insightful words. Now it's time for me to invite the second response from former Deputy Prime Minister Winston Peters. Please join me to welcome Deputy Prime Minister Peters.
All right. We okay? Chairman Hsiao, my colleague, thank you for your invitation to speak again at this forum. It's a strange fact for someone that gets an invitation from Taiwan because it's different and somewhat unique. And that's a sad fact because in Taiwan's case, too much of the free world has a reflex consideration such as, what will some other countries think when you're invited in this way? How will they see this? That's because too many in the free world have been overly concerned with how other countries might view such an invitation. So let's begin by looking at some facts where my country, New Zealand, and China is concerned. My country's had many firsts with China. New Zealand first recognised China in December 1972. We were one of the first to officially visit China in 1976 and the first Western country to support China's application to the World Trade Organization in 2001 and the first country to have a free trade agreement with China in 2008. That's our record. But a 1976 meeting in Beijing with the then leader of China, Chairman Mao Zedong, New Zealand's then Prime Minister received an assurance from the chairman that his country's policy was to take no hegemony, that China had no expansionist plans. It is our country's policy to take people at their word and to trust their promises and to do our best to foster partnerships of cooperation, collaboration and progress. We respect other cultures, other systems and other beliefs, and we expect others to reciprocate and respect our systems, our beliefs and indeed our culture. And as someone who represented New Zealand at the handover of Hong Kong in 1997, we witnessed the beginnings of China's promised one country, two systems. One country, two systems. Sadly, within 20 years, that promise was in tatters. So right here, right now, we all meet today at an inflection in world affairs and in our neighbourhood. And those of us that believe in freedom, democracy and the rule of law are being called to make a stand for them together, whether it affects us or those that think like us. Now, we're not saying our system is perfect, but it has one exceptional superior element. In our systems, the power we have has been conferred on us by the people. It is the people who are always our masters, and whether they, the people, agree is put to the test in set-term elections. Our power comes from the consent of the people, not coercion of the people. New Zealand, you know, has had an extraordinarily successful trading relationship with Taiwan, culminating in the ANZTEC bilateral trade agreement in 2013, which in just 3 years from now will see all tariffs and restrictions between our two countries end. And as we come out of the clutches of this imposter called COVID-19, we want to reinvigorate our relationship in trade, commerce, culture, and people-to-people connections. That means looking at all existing or possibly new areas of progress, whether it be commercial partnerships, the expansion of two-way trade and collective added value, greater collaboration between our universities, exploring new developments in digital trade, or together just improving our democracies using digital technology to build better community consensus, which is being put together here, right in Taiwan as we speak. And working together on issues of social justice and human rights and respecting our Indigenous people. Taiwan is New Zealand's 7th largest export market, and we have significant imports from Taiwan as well. And the great news is, with all the planes flying around in the air as we are in here today, if you had a chance to see them, Taiwan opens up next week. So opportunities for people-to-people exchanges, tourism, bilateral cultural links, and exploring greater economic cooperation together are all imminent. On the issue of cultural links, some New Zealanders, along with so many people across the whole Pacific, have something in common with people here in Taiwan. 5,000 years ago, we were living here. We left here and we set off around the Pacific. It's in our DNA. And like your president, many New Zealanders share an Indigenous Taiwanese ancestry. But like you, whilst respecting our past, we're trying to build a new culture of all those who live in our respective countries today, looking ahead and not backwards. Building a new culture knowing that freedom, democracy and the rule of law is the only pathway we have to equality, prosperity and indeed security. Some of us have always believed that Taiwan should be a member of the World Health Organization. At no time was that more obvious than the advent of COVID-19, when Taiwan's immediate response and success made it the world leader. And to those who argue otherwise about Taiwan being on the World Health Organization, let's together pose this question for them right now. Why seek to exclude the help of an international leader on this issue if you were genuinely concerned at the damage COVID-19 has done to so many people and to so many economies in the world? If you do profess to stand for international cooperation and collaboration, why would working together on solutions for COVID-19 and its variants not include Taiwan? For the same reason, if cooperation, collaboration and economic progress is our goal, why would you not want Taiwan to join the CPTPP? Part of a new regional framework going forward that President Tsai referred to this morning. And one more very plain question. Is Taiwan responsible for creating uncertainty and fear in its neighbourhood? You all know that the answer is, it is not. Taiwan is not the problem here. As we shared with President Tsai yesterday, Taiwan has one of the highest population densities in the world. Resource poor, Taiwan early on understood that people are a country's greatest asset if educated, trained, skilled, and set free to become that asset. Wise leadership and people-centric policies have made this country an economic phenomenon matched by very few other nations. Ladies and gentlemen, when you're asked to give advice to Taiwan, you have to be ultra careful. And giving an accolade, ladies and gentlemen, or praise to a nation for its economic achievements, as some of us will know, is sometimes difficult when you're overseas. You know that sometimes your diplomacy masks the truth. But giving praise for economic achievements is easy when Taiwan is concerned, because you just have to get up and tell the plain truth. Let's pose again this question to some of Taiwan's critics. If one of your wider family were to go it alone, would you not really want them to be successful? Why is pride in one's ethnic relations' success not happening here? If the uplifting of all Chinese people is your aspiration, and in one place that is happening without you, i.e. Taiwan, how sincere or honourable is your criticism and constant complaint, if you really were pro-Chinese people? How, in any real way, can Taiwan's great success be harming anyone or any country? Ladies and gentlemen, we know that it's not. And we here today understand that. As one of the first Western countries to recognise China in 1972, New Zealand nevertheless wished back then and now to continue our relationship with Taiwan. It's always been our position to continue relations between New Zealand and Taiwan, albeit without formal diplomatic ties. But we have never wished to interfere or meddle, but rather to try and build cooperative relations with countries. We have together strived for a rules-based international order, and so has Taiwan. We have strived to stand for and support internationally the law of the seas. Now, those two constructs are designed to support world peace. The rules-based international order and the law of the seas are not principles that we support when it suits us and just ignore them when it doesn't. We understand that to be a responsible international citizens, might does not make right. That small countries have a right to be heard and respected in the family of nations. Our way is to work for a better world, not promote our interests over those of everyone else and every other country. We are looking forward to expanding every aspect of our modern economic relationship with the people of Taiwan. In conclusion, we have a resolve to stand up for security and peace, and with Taiwan, together, build a better, safer, more prosperous, more secure future together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, that conclude the segment one of the first part of this round table. Please join me to give a round of applause to two Deputy Prime Ministers for your insightful comments. Okay. Yes, go back.
Thank you very much. Please return to your seat. Thank you so much for your insights. Ladies and gentlemen.
Move that thing.
我们请工作人员麻烦请帮忙把这个讲台移下去，谢谢。Once again, we would like to thank Deputy Prime Minister Phongthep and Deputy Prime Minister Peters. Please return to your seat. Once again, another round of applause. Thank you very much.
Now, we will have the segment two, the second part of this round table. We will have 6 in a row to present their views, to respond to the major theme of this year's Yushan Forum. We will have one online, and he's the chairman of the Manila Economic of Culture Office, Bello, and also former secretary of the Labor Department in the Philippines, and Mr. Silvestre H. Bello III. Please, Mr. Bello, are you with us now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please go ahead. Please join me to welcome Mr. Bello.
Thank you very much, sir. Greetings to all the delegates and participants of the 6th Yushan Forum that the Taiwan-Asia Exchange Foundation will hold this October 17, 2022. The annual Yushan Forum of the Taiwan-Asia Exchange Foundation has served since 2017 as the platform and vehicle not only for Asian unity, but in demonstrating the progressive developments in the cooperative and collective endeavors between Taiwan and its partner countries, including our country, the Philippines. It has served as the forum for discussion of eminent and progressive leaders in government, in business, science, and human rights issues affecting the Asia-Pacific region. This year's theme of recovering, reorienting, and reconnecting is indeed a most fitting and appropriate question. After a standstill of more than 2 years due to COVID-19, it is indeed time for Taiwan and its partners to recover from the devastation of the pandemic and reorient and reconnect themselves and move towards greater days and nobler times. Hopefully, we are headed towards that direction. And not only that, the 6th Yushan Forum is most vital and relevant for Taiwan and its partners to keep abreast with developments in a fast-changing world. With the economies of many, if not most countries of the planet in shambles as a result of the pandemic, it has become all the more imperative and compelling for the Yushan Forum members and participants to work with greater intensity and collaboration to forestall a global catastrophe. The Yushan Forum will also afford its participants the chance to discuss the current trust in doing business in all areas of development through or via the digital system. In our country, the Philippines, for instance, our Department of Labor is putting in place and pursuing a digital system that would transform its approach to labor management relation, to condition of work, employment compensation, and benefits to simplify and to facilitate with precision the resolution of labor dispute and bring about industrial peace in a developing country. With these thoughts in mind, ladies and gentlemen, it is with a sense of urgency and distinct honor for our country to be invited and to participate in this prestigious assembly and contribute its talents and resources in uplifting the lives of the people in this part of the world. To all of you, thank you very much, and our best wishes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bello. And since Mr. Bello has other engagement to run through, so he has to be offline. And thanks again, Mr. Bello. And please join us. Please join me to thank Mr. Bello. Now, I would like to call on the participants, the 4 panelists on to the stage. Mr. Honorable Sajid Kumar, Member of the Parliament of India. Please come to the stage. And the second panelist is the Honorable Richard Pasaribu, of the Member of the Regional Representative Council of Indonesia. Please come. Please welcome both of them. And the third one is the Honorable Viviane Reding, former Vice President of the European EC, European Commission, and former member of the Luxembourg Parliament. Please, Madame Reding, please Please welcome her. And the number 4 is His Excellency Sujan Chinoy, Director General, Institute for Defense Studies and Analysis of India. Please, Mr. Chinoy. Please. So, we have only 1 hour for the 4 speaker in person, and we have 1 more to listen to. And she is our Minister Audrey Tang. She just resumed the ministry position, and she used to be the minister without portfolio. She liked to be called the Minister of Digital or Digital Minister. She doesn't like to be called Minister of the Ministry of Digital Affairs. So please join me to welcome Audrey Tang. She prepared a pre-recorded video. So please join us to welcome Audrey Tang.
Good local time, everyone. I'm Audrey Tang, Taiwan's Digital Minister. It's a tremendous opportunity to address you all today during the 2022 Yushan Forum Asian Dialogue for Innovation and Progress. The Yushan Forum is one of Taiwan's most highly anticipated annual gatherings of academics, experts, opinion shapers, and thought leaders from across the region and around the globe. This edition is no different, and I do have high hopes for participants to forge formidable progress on key issues in keeping with the forum's theme of revitalizing, reorienting, and reconnecting. The timing of Yushan this year is fortuitous. Taiwan is safely and steadily moving along the path to the post-pandemic new life by easing our quarantine requirements, restoring visa-free entry to our ally and partner countries, and admitting more and more tourists. This long-awaited opening and return to normal life offers the Ministry of Digital Affairs an array of opportunities to kick off from its highly anticipated launch in August by further raising awareness of the MODA and its core mission of promoting the country's overall digital policy, innovation, and reform. Now, this is to be achieved by consolidating the major fields of telecommunications, information, cybersecurity, internet, and communications, as well as planning digital development policies and coordinating infrastructure, environment preparation, and resource management. We need to ensure national cybersecurity, encourage cross-sectoral digital transformation, and most importantly, enhance digital resilience for all. Now, only a solid digital infrastructure can ensure digital applications in our everyday life function as intended. The MODA will continue improving Taiwan's broadband application environment, shaping a diverse innovation ecosystem, and we will promote and establish standards and self-regulation mechanisms, allowing everyone to access our public services. And this will make even more headway on advancing equality and democracy for all. Now, the MODA is committed to promoting suitable digital tools and open mindsets through building resilience and co-creation, powering Taiwan's shift from a digital island to a global model of digital democracy and innovation. Now, I believe that the government's broadband as a human right policy, which allows anyone to broadcast live from Yushan, the Jade Mountain, the country's highest peak, combined with an ultra-low barrier for internet access, that's the cornerstone of Taiwan's internationally recognized standing as one of the world's most free and open societies. The success in digital democracy, much like our country's response to COVID-19 in 2020 and 2021, including the mask visualization maps, the SMS contact tracing system, and so on, warrants sharing with friends far and wide. Now, rule by the people is the original intent of democracy. In the face of common threats such as disinformation and the pandemic, Taiwan's digital model of management showed the world that civic technologies from the social sector can produce effective counter-pandemic measures such as the mask map and the 1922 contact tracing system. Both initiatives involve governments at all levels and businesses, social entrepreneurs working hand in hand. This people-public-private partnership passed through a test of fire and boasts enormous potential for expanded application around the country and around the globe. I envision the PPPP model as one of the MODA's key platforms for international collaboration and tie-ups between Taiwan and all democracies, especially in the new southbound policy region, as we set about answering UN Secretary General's call for a coalition of the world to solve global challenges. The PPPP model with the people first strengthens digital democracy and is just another of the many ways Taiwan can help. Now, the Yushan Forum plays a vital role in this process, in serving as a peerless platform for engagement and interaction with NSP target countries in South Asia, Southeast Asia, Australia, and New Zealand. The forum is paving the way for Taiwan to share our many achievements and accomplishments spanning culture, economy, education, investment, healthcare, technology, and tourism through increased business cooperation, people-to-people exchange, and supply chain integration. At present, this is based on the government's four-pronged approach of encouraging economic collaboration, conducting talent exchange, sharing resources, and forging regional links. The NSP also promises to unlock more opportunities in association of Southeast Asian nations' markets, with the aim of revitalizing local industries and boosting job creation. Now, the MODA, we will shoulder our share of the NSP load by cooperating closely with target countries in supporting digital co-creation and development in mutually beneficial sectors. A driving principle is ensuring all members of society can fully participate in the country's cultural and economic life through human-centered technology. And this pays handsome dividends by boosting resilience and sowing the seed for sustainable prosperity. As we all know, digital technology is a powerful tool spurring the innovation and transformation of entire industrial sectors. The MODA's administration for digital industries will accelerate related transformation, supporting with the spirit of openness and co-creation and inclusiveness, while assisting all participants from all walks of life realizing the vision of a smart nation. The ADI focuses on business promotion with resilience, integration, security, and empowerment. This supports digital application innovation, improves supply chain resilience, and effectively deploy resources. As a result, a driving force for industrial development is created and output benefits are maximized vis-à-vis government resources input. Now, in the era of digital economy coupled with pandemic, digital technology is even more crucial in the promotion of the NSP. A prime example is the solution for digital learning, ranging from environment construction, teacher training, cooperation with, for example, Japanese companies to develop augmented reality manufacturing facility, personnel training solutions. The bottom line is that no country is an island, not even Taiwan. This is why the MODA will remain at the vanguard of efforts to deepen and to strengthen our NSP connections, as well as digital democracy development throughout the region. As we have shown again and again in Taiwan, democracy is not just government for the people, but with the people. Trusting citizens to participate in policymaking, form shared goals, develop innovative solutions, and contribute to the planet. And this is the cornerstone philosophy of the MODA strive to free the future. Now, friends, thank you all for listening. Live long and prosper.
Thank you, Minister Tang. And she's a person of innovation. So you can tell from what she said, it's full of innovative words. Thanks for that, Minister Tang. So now we will have welcome the four panelists, distinguished panelists in person. Let me welcome first the Honorable Kumar, the member of the upper house of India. And I hope, because I want to bet with you to change the rule a little bit, because all day from morning to until now, we don't have a question and answer for the participant here. So we want to save some time, and we can please, four of you, work with me, and we save some time for the guests here and distinguished participants to raise questions, to share their views. And that's a people orientation. That's a people center too. So let's do that. And so please keep your talk 5 minutes, plus minus 1. Okay. So Mr. Kumar. Please join me to welcome Mr. Kumar.
Thank you, Professor Michael, for making the discussion more interactive and changing the format. Good evening, greetings from India. It's a matter of great pride for me to be the first member of parliament from India to be part of the Yushan Forum. And I thank TAEF and government of Taiwan for the invitation. This year, we are celebrating 75 years of our independence. And the values which inspired our freedom struggle, values of freedom, human rights, dignity, freedom of speech, these are the values which we share with Taiwan, which is a proud, vibrant, and robust democracy. We are the largest democracy and probably the oldest democracy in the world. So there is a lot of democracies in our DNA. So there is a lot of synergy between the two countries. A couple of minutes ago, Honorable former Vice Prime Minister of Thailand referred to Prime Minister Modi's comment to President Putin. This is not the time of war. He did also say that democracy, diplomacy, and dialogue are the 3 ways through which we need to resolve the conflicts of the world. And as an Indian member of parliament, I come to this country to share those views. Now, I think we are the largest contingent here from India. So that's the seriousness with which we see the India-Taiwan partnership. In 2012, I think yesterday, Madam President Tsai was mentioning that in 2012, before she became the president, she had traveled to India, and that the visit has left a deep impact on her mind. And in one of her interactions to media sometime in 2016 or 17, she said that she was very fascinated by India. I would like to tell our friends in Taiwan that we reciprocate the view. And just 2 days ago, in a dinner, while sharing my views, I quoted Victor Hugo, who said, "Nothing can stop an idea whose time has come." And the India-Taiwan partnership, I strongly believe, is an idea whose time has come. India-Taiwan partnership has only one way to go, and that is upwards. Now, geopolitics has certainly brought the two countries together. The ugly behavior, and I have no hesitation in calling China for what it has done, the ugly, belligerent, expansionist, and intimidating behavior of China across the strait, in the Indian borders, and across South China Sea and many other places across the globe has definitely brought India and Taiwan closer. But I think the India-Taiwan partnership is much more than that. It should stand on its own legs. Definitely, we share the common concerns and challenges emanating from a bully. But definitely, I think there is so much of commonalities between the two countries, democracy being one, our youthful population, the shared values that we have, and the economic bilateral ties that we can engage in. These are some of the pillars that can propel the India-Taiwan partnership going ahead. Now, the theme of today's conference is, one of the key words in the theme is reconnecting. Now, there were speakers who mentioned about the 3 Ps, public-private people partnership. Let me stress on the people part. As you might all know, we are one of the most youthful nations in the world. 2/3 of our population is under 35. Half of our population is under 25. So that gives us a tremendous, what we call demographic dividend. Huge advantage for us to engage with all like-minded countries. Our politics is also traditionally which was elderly is becoming younger. We see more young members of parliament in our state legislatures today. So I urge countries like Taiwan, all like-minded countries and friendly countries, to engage with the youthful population of India. The public part, there is a massive structural change that is undergoing in India today. Be it having a bank account for every Indian, be it having a unique identity card for every Indian, or having a mobile phone in every Indian hand, or a house, or a running water, basic amenities like this. This was unthinkable a couple of years ago. Today, these are the facts of Indian life. So these structural changes, what we call the democracy dividend, this again offers and opens a lot of avenues and windows for partnership with friendly countries like Taiwan. So I'm very, very optimistic about the Indo-Taiwan partnership, and I go as far as saying that the India-Taiwan partnership will be and should be one of the most defining partnerships in the 21st century. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kumar. And as you know, that the TAEF has published 2 reports on Taiwan-India relations in 1 year, and that means how important we valued the India-Taiwan partnership. Thank you very much. Now let's call on Mr. Pasaribu from Indonesia. Please join me to win Pasaribu.
The challenges of today we are facing about the COVID-19 pandemic has not been fully recovered, and the global economic situation has not been fully restored. And the energy crisis, including the food crisis, economic crisis, as many as 107 countries are affected by the pandemic, and some of them are predicted to go bankrupt. One thing I would like to tell about the study of the varieties of democracy in 2020, presenting data that 48 countries are at high risk of the decline of democracy, namely Russia, Belarus, and Myanmar, and 34 countries are at moderate risk, namely Indonesia, Brazil, and India, and 47 countries are at low risk, like Taiwan, New Zealand, and Norway. Based on the national survey conducted by Indicator in May 2020, it was found that only 50% of the public was satisfied with the implementation of democracy in the country. However, this number has fallen when compared to the February 2020 period before the outbreak, which was at 75%. The decline coincided with the decrease of the level of confidence also for the President and the parliaments in May 2020. Public surveys for these indicators reached 88% satisfied for the President and 70% for the parliaments, whereas in February 2020, before the outbreak, each only had figure of 90% for the President and 75% for the parliaments. The role of the senators, including the role of the senators during the pandemic is monitoring the government policies. We collect the ideas, aspirations, inspirations for all the stakeholders about the decline in the quality of the democracy, because the COVID pandemic poses a challenge the performance of the parliament around the world. We see the pentahelix model is based on the 5 stakeholders, which are for the handling the collaborative responsibilities among the stakeholders. by the government, including senators, parliament, and civil government, armed forces, and police, and also by the civil society like non-governmental organizations, religious organizations, and the foundations, also the local communities, including also the stakeholders of business entities, media, and academics. This is also, in the long term, for the pandemic solutions, sustainable for the collaboration among the 5 stakeholders, including the new normal paradigm, and also the parliament roles to stimulate policies based on the shared mission among the stakeholders. I would like to get the conclusion that during this pandemic, we have the solution not only by the government affair, but by the 5 stakeholders. And then the pentahelic stakeholders approach will have a long-term sustainable effect in the process of handling the multisectoral impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. The decline in the quality of the global democracy poses a challenge to the orientation of parliaments around the world. The role of the parliament and the international level is significant in strengthening bilateral and multilateral communications so that best practice sharing is being applied among the countries in handling the pandemic. Thank you. Terima kasih.
Thank you very much. You are exactly 5 minutes. Thank you very much. What you mentioned about the revitalization model, you specify 5 stakeholders. There are even more than one PPPP model. So it's very good, very concise, very good. Okay, the next one I would like to call Madame Redding. Madame Redding, she told me this during the lunchtime that this is her 12 visit to Taiwan, and the first time to welcome her. And I said, you should do it continuously. Next will be 13, and then 14, and then 15, and plus. And the first visit, her visit into Taiwan was in 1979. I told her that was the year I came back to teach in 1979. Okay, Madam Redding, time is yours. 5 minutes plus minus 1 minute.
Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I am the only one from a different part of the world tonight with you. And that's why, leave me to explain who we are and how we came to the position we are in today. The European Union was created after the horrors of the Second World War, bringing together former enemies into a common government, if you so want, and through listening to them, building with them, through trying to work together and not one against the other, we managed to have until now 70 years of peace. And we managed to become one of the most developed and wealthy continents of the world. But because we didn't have major problems, we were leaning back, outsourcing parts of things which should be done by the member states. For instance, security, energy, manufacturing, but not worrying because everything went so well. It went so well until Russia invaded Ukraine. And we started to understand that things which we thought were not moving again into a back direction could move very quickly. And so we decided together to go for a new way of strategic autonomy, trying to develop at home what we outsourced before. But on our experience, we knew also that we cannot become an island, build a wall around of Europe. No, we have to proceed with like-minded nations. And we have to proceed mostly in areas where we build the future. I have very well listened to your digital minister, and she is right. 70% of the future wealth in the next 10 years will be created at the digital level. So if we want to go forward on this level, we have to do two things. First, with the like-minded nations, know that you cannot build a digital world only economically. You have to build it on values. And the protection of the individual, the protection of the personal data is basic to the trust which our citizens are going to help us building the digital future. And so I really applaud to the Joint Declaration on Privacy and the Protection of Personal Data, which has been signed by many of you: Australia, Comoros, India, Japan, Mauritius, New Zealand, Korea, Singapore, Sri Lanka, Philippines, Thailand, and Taiwan. That is a starting point. Now, building on this respect of our citizens, we have to gather with our citizens, and I like your public-private partnership where you put also the people inside. Absolutely right. Data protection is the people indeed. But then we have to go ahead and see where we are standing and how we can develop. Taiwan is gorgeous for microchips, not for other things. So Taiwan can help other parts in the area and worldwide to continue on the software. But for the hardware, other nations are stronger. We should go ahead also in direction of quantum computing and work together, because only if we work together can we arrive to a success. And if we know that 70% of the future wealth will be created in this area, there is only a way. It is the way to move together, to pool our talents, to pool our means, and to win together.
Thank you very much for your very encouraging and proactive recommendations and advocacy. Thank you very much. And let me go on the last but not the least, Mr. Chinoy, from the Institute for Defense Study and Analysis from India. Please.
大家下午好，我是印度国防研究分析院院长叫齐战，这是我第一次到台湾来，上午听到了很多这个说者介绍台湾的成就，给我们大家留了很深刻的印象。我的名字叫齐战，很有意义的，象征着齐就是象征着团结起来的这个意思。说到战呢，如果我们能够建造一个有民族自由的、不容许以大欺小、以强凌弱的世界呢，那多么好啊！给大家都带来一个非常好的一个世界，这就算是很战。Let me come to the 3 points that I want to make in brief. The first is about revitalizing. As you know, the topic that we have chosen today is extremely appropriate. 这个今天圆桌这个题目是非常恰当的。振兴在定位有重启连结。在第3个场次不容易说什么新的话，不过我尽可能的努力吧。Under revitalizing, I would like to say that the global economy has contracted by 3.3%. in 2020. Trade, FDI, and supply chains are in distress. But India is growing at 7.5%. It's the fastest economy in the world. It received $84 billion worth of investments in the last year. In healthcare, while the world was reeling, it is India that overcame the pandemic, provided 2 billion doses to its population in 18 months, and also provided a great deal of help to 101 countries around the world. Democracy, there have been attempts to malign democracy, but these have clearly failed. Regional cooperation is on the rise. Multilateralism has weakened due to major power confrontation. Trade, technology, territory, and tenets are all under distress. Regional cooperation seems to be the way forward, the preferred way forward. And here is where Taiwan's new southbound policy and India's neighborhood first policy with an extended neighborhood can actually come together. Under reorientation, I would like to say that globalization is reorienting considerably. There is emphasis on reducing dependence on one geography for critical infrastructure, for critical supply chains. Redirecting trade and investment to new destinations is a priority. Decoupling is not easy, but many of us would want a kind of China plus policy. There's greater scrutiny of inbound and outbound FDI. Alternatives for infrastructure and connectivity abound now. Developmental finance, there are a number of choices that a number of countries like the US, Japan, Australia, India, and the EU are providing. Taiwan and India can also work together in this regard. There is surge in importance of high-tech and semiconductors play a big role in this. AI, 5G, ISR, and digital platforms as well. The world is splitting into blocks because of the tech denial regimes that are coming up. These may end up being mutually exclusive in the global economy of tomorrow. There is a surge in military budgets, and economic decision everywhere is being subjected to strategic considerations. As far as reconnecting is concerned, here is our chance to strengthen multilateralism, but to do that we will have to reform the United Nations, especially its Security Council, to make it more representative and democratic. We must reboot our cooperation in healthcare, climate change, and clean energy, but it's not enough to simply pronounce ourselves on these subjects. We must take action to help developing countries with technology as well. We must make the world safer by uniting to fight terrorism. There is abuse of veto power today by a common neighbor, a permanent member, in the listing of global terrorists under the Al-Qaeda and 1267 committee. That is to say, there is willingness on the part of some to sacrifice the global good for strategic gains. We must also address shortages in food, fuel, and fertilizers, and reconnect through the Indo-Pacific. The Asia-Pacific is clearly a thing of the past. It had its utility in the 50 years, the second half of the 20th century. But the future for India and Japan is to work together in the context of the broader Indo-Pacific. And the world needs not just money and investments and technology. It needs a moral compass. It needs a new value system. And this is where India is willing to work for delivery of global public good and global wellness and prosperity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. To take the Act East policy of India, I think our new southbound policy, we can call it also Act South. So when you act East and act South, and we'll meet somewhere in Southeast Asia. And so we will work together, of course, yes. Okay, now, we are doing all right? We still have some time for question and answers. Now, we will open for 10 minutes Q&A, and please grasp your opportunity and ask questions in concise terms. Or, you can express your echoes and your reflections to the speaker's remarks. So please, let me see the hands. The time is I grasped, I treasured. So please. Okay, over there, the lady there. And let me see other hands. And any other?
Okay, we have another one.
Another lady. Where are the men? Okay. Men, please. Come forward. Okay, we wait for men to act.
Hello, this is Francis Lee from Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I got a question posed for 4 panelists. I'm just wondering how's your perspectives on Russia's invasion of Ukraine? Because we now see the commodity price inflated, the energy price also keep rising, and winter is coming. Now we see the conflict or the war already proceed for 7 months. I'm just wondering, especially for the Honorable Redding and the Honorable Chinoy, how's your perspective for like-minded country, which all cherish democracy and the freedom? How do you see the war will be ended? Is it will be ended in the near future, or at least, for one more year? Thank you.
Well, we will save the answers to the end. So each one of you have 2 minutes to respond, to pick up your question you like. Okay, over there, the lady. And other hands? No? Okay.
直接讲就可以了。
Where?
You can just speak.
Oh, okay. Can you
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Yushan from Friedrich Naumann from office in Taipei. So I actually have 2 questions. So first of all, today we have talked about the importance of Taiwan, be it like the vital supplier for semiconductors or the role it plays when it comes to stability in Indo-Pacific. But especially like Madam Redding, you mentioned that you have visited Taiwan for so many times. I would like to ask if there's any recommendations or advice, if all of you, all the speakers and the panelists, if you could give to Taiwanese government that it could do better to enhance its engagement and partnership with the rest of the world. And the second question is, today I see there are many participants, like me, myself. We are from international think tanks and NGOs who either retreat their office back to Taiwan from China or Hong Kong, or they recently opened a new office in Taiwan because they see the potential of Taiwan. And what would be the role that international stakeholders like us, that we could contribute or play?
Thank you. Do I have another hand? Okay, over there. Another lady, please. You have a question? Okay, finally we got a man over there.
Should I just go now? Okay. Thank you for providing the opportunity. And this is Pungshan Lee from National Democratic Institute. So I would like to direct a personal question to Sujeet Kumarji. We're happy to meet you again here in Taiwan. And since you are in the Indian Parliament, you are a part of for both the Formosa Club and also the All Parliamentaries group for Tibet. I just wonder, do you have any insights on how to combine these 2 issues, both supporting Taiwan and also Tibet, into the Taiwan policy, like the Taiwan New Southbound policy? Is there anything that you think can combine into all these kind of issues? Thank you.
Thank you. And over there, please.
Hi there. Thank you very much for your remarks today. My name is Daniel Michael. I'm from National Taiwan University. Now, I have a question regarding our group of like-minded countries. Now, within our group of democracies, we often have very different understandings of civil liberties, of our acceptance of diversity, for example, protection of personal data. So my question is, within our group of democratic countries, how can we navigate these very real divergences in our understandings of how democracy functions? Thank you.
Good. We have 4 questions. I think that's good enough. And so let me kindly invite our speakers to respond. Let me reverse the order. From Mr. Chinoy, 你先开始，你要用英文，不要用中文。Please.
我洗耳恭听吧。So, as far as Ukraine is concerned, India has repeatedly stated that it stands for peaceful dialogue, peaceful resolution of all differences. India is the land of the Buddha. India is the land of Mahatma Gandhi. And we have forever, as our civilizational legacy, always advocated the values of peace and non-violence. And this is no different. And the Prime Minister of India and other senior leaders have repeatedly stated that they hope that this matter is resolved as soon as possible through peaceful dialogue. As to how long this war will last, it's not for me to predict that, but we do hope that reason will prevail. This is, as my Prime Minister said, not an era of war, and we do hope that they can sit around a table and resolve their differences. A brief word on democracy. I think democracy should not be subjected to unilateralism in terms of interpretation. Nobody has a monopoly on the practice of democracy. So when we have democratic systems, we must cherish the fact that we are like-minded. But there will be a certain context in which we must look at each other's democracies as well. On the Indo-Pacific, I want to add one word here, that the Asia-Pacific was very relevant to the second half of the 20th century. It did a great deal for East Asia, but growth, prosperity, economic development has been spreading beyond East Asia to Southeast Asia, to South Asia, all the way to the dynamic coast of Africa. So today, the Indo-Pacific is the vision of the future. It is more democratic, it is more inclusive, it is also more in tune with the aspirations of a much bigger swathe of humanity. And that is where Taiwan's future lies. Taiwan should not be restricted by concepts of the past. It must reach out into the Indo-Pacific. That is where it will find like-minded partners. It will find democracy. It will find a certain amount of convergence in terms of these values that we cherish, of openness and democracy, protecting the openness of our oceans, freedom of navigation, overflight, and much else that binds us all together. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Reding.
The war is taking place in the direct neighborhood of Europe. And it has provoked unexpected action. Helping with arms, helping with people, helping with money in a massive way, the neighbor who has been aggressed was happening very, very quickly. Taking in millions of refugees from one day to another did not pass through discussions, but passed through action. And countries who thought they could be on their own forever asked to become member of NATO from one day to another. Which means, in other words, that if a destabilization of Europe was a goal, well, the goal is not fulfilled. The contrary happened. It was a strengthening of the working together of Europe which has happened. That does not mean that there are no problems. We are going to pass a very difficult winter. But already we have started to reduce massively our use of fossil energies and go into the clean energy. So an acceleration out of need and thinking that we should not put all our eggs in the same basket, but diversify, not only in energy terms, but also in economic terms, also in exchange terms. So a complete different way of doing international business and building it on values. Now, the values are not analyzed in the same way everywhere in the world. But there are values which you cannot discuss, like respect of the individual, respect of the families, help for developing talent. Those are values which are undiscussable and they should be put into practice. So the openness, the respect and the working together will be something we are going to see in a much more strong way, and looking only for money and not having other considerations will be questioned. And only that is worth the trouble.
Thank you very much, Madam Reding. Now, please, Mr. Pasaribu. Yes.
Thank you. There are 4 questions, but I'm very interested for the second questions about Taiwan having the high tech. And we know from the history that in the decade of 70s, 80s, 90s, Taiwan was learning a lot from the United States about the high-tech technology. And now they have one of the best technology of the microchips in the world. And for this one, Indonesia is really expecting the collaboration with countries. And there is open, wide opportunities if Taiwan and Indonesia can work together. For example, we have the good natural resources like nickels, because we have the future cars or the motors, about the electric cars and the motors in the future. We have the natural resources, but we don't have yet the high-end technologies, the products. So from the raw until the end, we are very open because we have also the human resources that can be taught for the transfer of technology in the future, rather than we expect with other big countries. Nowadays, we can open this opportunity for the cooperation about the technology with Indonesia and Taiwan. Thank you.
Mr. Kumar?
There was a question on recommendation for Taiwan to engage with other countries. I think Taiwan is doing fine. In fact, I'm a great admirer of Taiwan's resilience. You know, if I were to define Taiwan in one word, it would be resilience. There's so much that other countries can learn from this resilience and confidence and calmness of Taiwan. So I think that is a great magnet for other countries to engage with Taiwan, apart from the economic opportunities. The lady over there asked about how to link new southbound policy and Tibet and Taiwan. See, Tibet and Taiwan are very, very different issues. You know, I always say that China, for a very long time, was able to sell its narrative of peaceful rise and was able to fool the world by this false narrative. Now we know that it's a false narrative, right? The peaceful rise of China was never meant to be. So the reason I support Tibet is because I strongly believe in the Tibetan cause, meaning the Tibetan identity, culture, language, religion is systematically and certainly being decimated by China, which is, I think, against the agreement that they signed in the 50s and against, you know, the rich culture that the Tibetans have. So, and the reason I support Taiwan is because Taiwan is an independent nation in my view. It may not be the view of government of India, and here I speak on my own behalf, but Taiwan is a proud, robust, and functioning democracy. This is why I support Taiwan. I don't think that the two issues could be linked. Now, the NSP is an economic framework, and I think there is so much synergies between the Act East policy of India and many other frameworks of other countries and the NSP of Taiwan, which will significantly boost the economic power of these countries. And the reason why China is able to behave the way it is today is largely because of its economic might. In the case of India, its economy is 5 times India's size. So we have to, I keep saying that in India, in the parliament, I've said this many times, that we have to become economically stronger if we have to tackle this bully. So I think I don't want to mix these issues of Tibet, Taiwan, and NSP. Lastly, about democracy, I think, yes, different nations have different perceptions of democracy, and that's okay. So be it. Depending on the local context, depending on the development trajectory or the needs and aspirations of the people are free to, define their own democratic values. But there are some common denominators. I mean, free and fair election, freedom of speech. We all know what those common values are. So those are non-negotiable. So as long as we have the non-negotiables, I think it's okay to have different perceptions of democracy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. In this roundtable, we gather 9 distinguished panelists and speakers. And I'm sure you and I all agree we collect many words of wisdom. Let me try to humbly to summarize and to get what I really received, the messages. While we are revitalizing to our normal life, while we are reorienting our new priorities, while we are new connecting one another, please don't forget the following 7 qualities. That's what I get from them. Number 1, don't forget the quality of health. Health cannot be taken for granted. Think about the last 2.5 years. We thought only one month and it should disappear like a flu. No, 2.5 years, and we don't know for sure we are really in a healthy world or not. Second, the quality of a commodity chain. We talk a lot about commodity, the technologies. We will make sure the quality of a commodity chain, especially the chips, the semiconductor orders. The end of the economy, and nowadays we connect very much the technology and economy together. Number 3, we have to pay attention, special attention to the quality of work, which has been hurt greatly by the pandemic, especially the mass working class workers. There's number 4, the quality of a rule-based democracies, regardless how you define democracy. But I do believe there is a minimum must quality which is universal. People should be protected. Individuals should be respect their dignity, should be respect their freedom and equality. Number 5 is the quality of a digital order. When Audrey talked about 70% of the future wealth will be based on digital order, I got me scared. I'm a terrible digital guy. No digital guy, not terrible. I'm not digital guy. So therefore, that means I will lose wealth. So I hope not. So I had to catch up quickly. But I think digital cannot be monopolized. Digital order should be fairly shared by all the people together. And number 6 is the quality of partnership between Taiwan and Southeast Asia and New Zealand and Australia. And we have to make sure the quality of partnership are good and resilient and sustainable. And we hope that new southbound policy can serve to that purpose. And number 7, the last one, the quality of a world order, under which I hope everybody talk about the fairness of Taiwan to have a normal place in the world order. And Taiwan deserved it. because Taiwan is not a problem. Taiwan can be a good solution to the future world order. So these are the 7 Winston Awards from the 9 gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen. And so please join me to thank the 9 distinguished panelists in this roundtable.
Thank you. Please put your hands together to our moderator, Chairman Hsiao, and our wonderful panelists.
Okay, now we're not finished yet. Okay, with that note, with that thanks, let me thank a group of people, young men and young women, who worked very hard to make this year's Yushan Forum possible and smoothly run. And I can take a breathe now because we are finally finishing it to the last few minutes. So please join me to thanks to the group of my staff under the leadership of Dr. Alan Yang. Those are the TAEF staff and TAEF volunteers.
Please
Thank
come
you very
forward.
much.
Please come forward. Thank you.
And some are actually left already because they have to pack all the goodies and pack all the goods and goodies back to the office.
Thank you. We also would like to invite our distinguished guests on the stage to join a photo call. So we would also like to invite the Deputy Prime Minister of Thailand. Please come up to the stage. So once again, a round of applause to our distinguished panelists, our moderator, as well as our wonderful staff. Thank you so much. Thank you.
One more group of people I'd like to thank is you. Because without your participation, this forum cannot be run as exciting as expected, or more than we expected. So thank you very much on behalf of the TAEF and all the organizing and all the partners which are listed in the back of the program. Please. So thank you very much for your joining today's forum.
Thank you to all of the participants. Thank you so much. Our distinguished guests, you can remove your face mask. Thank you. So our panelists, you can remove your face mask and please look at the camera. Thank you. So please look at the camera. Thank you. Give us your thumbs up. Please put your hands together to our wonderful moderator, Chairman Hsiao, and also all of the distinguished panelists. And also, once again, a big thank you to all of the staff and all of our participants. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the 2022 Yushan Forum. We hope that through this important platform, there will be more exchanges and cooperation in the future. Thank you, and may you all stay safe and healthy, and we hope to see you next year. Please don't forget your personal belongings when you leave. Thank you. And for our VIP guests, please follow our staff to the 9th floor for the banquet. Thank you, and see you next year. Thank you.